I'm having some issues with my daughter's school. I'm not a parent who complains about everything and is always emailing the teacher and always has something to say, but I am very irritated with how this situation is being handled. To start at the beginning, my daughter moved to this school this year. She was going to a private charter school before this and we moved, so that just felt like the best solution. It's the neighborhood school, it's a public school. The first time I go in to meet the teacher, she goes, "Oh my gosh, I think my children are older than you." I kind of let that comment just roll off my back, whatever. Yes, I know I'm a young mom. I had my daughter when I was 17, but I'm still doing perfectly fine and I'm a good parent. Then a few months ago, my daughter had an incident on the playground where a kid came into the classroom and said that my daughter had done something to her that was really bad. They immediately took my daughter to the principal, told her that she was in lots of trouble. They gave her a write-up. They did not call us at all to tell us about this. My daughter got in the car after school and she was like hysterically crying and told me what happened. I called the principal. I was like, what the heck? Like, I would like to be called and informed of these situations. And my daughter was adamant that she did not do what this kid was saying she did. And I know they have cameras on the playground. So I asked them to pull up the camera footage of what happened, and I asked if they had already done that. The principal said, "Oh no, we didn't do that, but we just have to take the word of the child." I was like, great, she's not gonna be punished until that footage is brought up. So they bring up the footage. My daughter didn't do anything. She calls me back and tells me that. She was like, "On the footage, we don't see anything. Your daughter is like on the other side of the playground." They don't apologize or anything. And I feel like since that incident, everything has been very weird with the school. And then the other day, my daughter got in the car and she's like, "Mom, there's a kid in my class who doesn't have food every day. Can I bring her some snacks tomorrow?" And I was like, "What do you mean she doesn't have food?" And she was like, "Yeah, she never comes to school with food and they stopped giving her hot lunches. They just give her graham crackers and saltine crackers now." And I was like, "Yeah, you can absolutely bring her food. Like, that's fine." The next day, she gets in the car again. And she's like, "Mom, that kid I was telling you about was hysterically crying and didn't want to leave school because she said that they were scared to go home." And she showed the teacher the bruises on her arms and said that she was being hurt at home. The next day, we called the school and we said, "Are you guys aware of the situation?" My daughter said this child had been making comments like this for the past few months. They said for confidentiality reasons, they would not discuss this with us. Reasonable, I understand. As a nurse, I'm a mandatory reporter. Her stepmom is a teacher. She's also a mandatory reporter. So we filed a case with CPS. They told my daughter's stepmom that there were no other cases about this. So the school's known about it for months and has not filed a case. My daughter gets called down to the counselor's office. They ask her why she told her parents about another child's business. She said, "I'm trying to keep her safe." The next day, I get a phone call from the principal and she said, "Hey, I heard through the grapevine that you guys are moving." I was like, "Yeah, our lease isn't up for a few months, but we are planning on moving." She was like, "Great, well, I need a new proof of residency within the next 30 days and I need you to file an open enrollment form." I said, "Bold of you to assume we're moving out of district." She's like, "Right, I'm gonna need that proof of residency within 30 days. My daughter had told her teacher we were moving and she was like, "Yeah, I'm really excited about it." But there was no reason the teacher had to go tell the counselor and the counselor had to tell the principal. When we moved, we're more than happy to file a change of residency form. The principal calls back the next day and says, "You guys need to stop sending food for this child." I'm gonna make a part 2 because there's a lot more.